great. So I'm going to move her out into procurement. She's not really, the closer we move to the sort of the center of the influence map is more influence they have. So she's not really influencing that much, but I know that she needs to onboard me. And then I'm going to draw a line of influence from John Smith to Amy. So I'm going to connect them. And so there you have it. So now I know anybody else looking at my opportunity can get information, everything from where it's at to what the action plan is, to what the influence map is looking at. And running a small organization today, we're about 50, 60 people. We have about 2 or 3 salespeople, including myself. This has now become sort of the benchmark of how we do our Monday morning meetings. Or if I'm traveling, I just want to open up opportunities and just look at the information. We all know that we are sort of looking at a more deep source of truth rather than just high-level data points. I'm going to win this opportunity this month, well, and then I change it to I'm going to win it next month. That doesn't help me much. So that is my influence map. I'm going to close this out. I think that's all I have.
So this was from Anil's perspective as a salesperson, but let me ask you a question. You're also running your business.
Yes.
So when you have data that's in here, how does this help you with your confidence about your pipeline and things like that?
Correct. What I had before was the editable grids and all the good stuff within opportunities, where we would change information and we would keep changing it, and it was not helping us that much get visibility into what's really happening. You always look at a pipeline, and if you look at the opportunities, I'm going to close this month or next month, and then things keep moving and you don't know. With this, we started asking the right questions, and then we started forming a way of thinking about everything in our sales cycle. If somebody contacts us, if we reach out to someone, we know what we need to ask. And some of these are tough questions to ask, like, how do you ask the question on client's ability to fund the project? Well, there are ways to ask that question. And you don't always have to ask, how much is the budget, what is the exact budget you have, but there are ways to ask that and get to the right answers, so on and so forth. So this is how this has become an invaluable part of how we run our business today.
All right, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So just wrapping up real quick, a couple of final thoughts here.
I just have a question regarding this.
Please.
Does this transition back up to a confidence level score that is applied against the total opportunity?
So right now we're not plotting it against the confidence level score, but that's easy to plot. You can get it all the way up to getting that point rating in the opportunity.
Next phase.
On-prem version?
We have not. Have we tested it on on-prem today?
No, we haven't tested it to date, but I'll talk more about that in a minute because it is available. I don't want to blow my punchline here, but it is available as an app. So if the on-prem can be installed from the app source, I don't know. You're more of an expert on that than me.
It should work fine. We haven't ourselves used it. Today, because all of us are going to move to V9, so even if this app today works only on V9, because we're going to be forced to move anyway. Yes.
I have a question,
Yes.
two-part question. Are your salespeople in the field, or are they in an office? And how much adoption did you get out of this? Because while I think that you exponentially increased your data, you also increased the amount of work that you are asking your salespeople to do. And when you already have a sales team that's putting in limited, inaccurate information, how do you?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the question was, how do you make sure that because they're now putting in the data that this is an extra burden, and are they in the office or in the field?
Yeah,
Right.
like if my salespeople are in the field currently and they're griping about the stuff they're putting
Yeah.
in out of the box
Yeah.
or minimal customization, how are you?
Yeah. So if they're already complaining about putting stuff in that's out of the box, how do we overcome what appears to be extra data they're putting in
Right.
here? The difference is how it helps them sell. So this is from the very beginning, putting in information that they should be doing. So all the sales reps, close your ears for a minute. That salespeople should be doing is due diligence for discovery at the beginning to qualify whether they should be even engaged in the opportunity. So there's sales methodology here that drives proper behaviors that say, when you're looking at this and using these tools to help you qualify, now as a salesperson, you know whether you should move forward or whether you should get out of it. And I mean, again, we're salespeople too, so we can say this. We want to tend to drive after everything and chase everything. But is that realistic? I mean, that's where the workload comes from, right? If it's truly a funnel, a sales funnel, which is what we call it, and you have 10 things coming in the top, and you hope to maybe have a 30% win rate, so you have 3 things coming out of the bottom, the only way to get more stuff coming out of the bottom is shove more in the top, right? And that does create more work. What this allows is for the salesperson to do a few simple steps, just using the SOS. They don't have to use the rest of it. They could just use the snapshot. That's it. And now that funnel is done at the top, so they weed out the things that aren't worth chasing. And now maybe there's 7 things in the top that we chase that we have a much higher probability of winning. And that's how this customer of mine increased their win rate, was they started to become realistic about what it is that they were working on. So instead of the salespeople chasing after everything, it helps them to be more organized to focus on the ones that can really be won. It doesn't wind up being more work. This is work they should be doing anyway in proper due diligence to win the deals. I won't ask you for numbers right now, but how many of you feel like your do nothing rate is too high? It should be everybody, right? The do nothing, where you don't win, the deal disappears, or it tracks through the pipeline and all of a sudden it falls out. Why is that the case? Because it probably wasn't properly qualified to begin with, and that's what we're doing here. So if you're asking your sales reps to do a little bit more work on the front end to make sure that it's more efficient on the back end, that's a good thing, and that's what the whole process is. So it really doesn't wind up being more work. People that use this realize it's helping me manage my time and helping me sell. Okay? Yes, please.
And maybe I mentioned something here, but what exactly is in D365? What did you customize?
Sure. So what's in D365 are things like the name of the opportunity, the name of the key stakeholder or the contact, the name of the competitors, your probability of winning, what sales stage you're at. You can say things like, what is my solution proposed to be? Those type of things, and that's about it. And it's dumb data, that's data fields. Everything else you see in here in terms of the graphical interface, the ability to do the qualification, which there's nothing in D365 for qualification right now. That's totally left to the subjectivity of the salesperson. So they decide if it's warm or medium or hot. There's no objective standard or capability in there that does that, which is what the snapshot does for them. So everything you've seen here that's graphical, and then the behind the scenes data, which again is so important because if the data is in there, now you can start to use it to make smart decisions as a sales team. That connectivity and the history of all of the what did the snapshot do as it moved through the sales cycle, what did the stakeholder do that we talked with on this deal in the past, what was the history of the competitors on other opportunities, none of that's available in there. So we added all of that in there. And just to summarize, and then we'll take a few more questions. So what we really looked at was three main things, just to summarize this. And this is something everybody can do, and either you can do it on your own if you want because the capabilities, a lot of capabilities in there, or you can utilize somebody like CloudFronts or your partner to do things. Make it easy to use for the salespeople. Help them sell. That's really what it's about. If we can start there and get to help them sell, now they're going to want to use it, and now a lot of the downstream problems go. In fact, yesterday I was sitting in on a partner-only event where there was a marketing person saying, by the way, who here is in marketing? A few people, I know there was, all right? Marketing person was saying, we really want to get case studies and success stories from our sales reps, and they say it's hard to do because the sales reps are so busy, they don't want to do it. Well, what if the sales reps are using something like SOS that already captures 90% of the success story, and now when the project is done, you get the permission of the customer, and you've got all the information there in terms of what was done. What was the business problem being solved? What was the value they got out of it? What happened with it? And all